Hey folks, good morning. Welcome to another episode of Steelers Morning Rush. I'm Alan Saunders. It is Thursday, October 4th. Pittsburgh Steelers have their second practice of Week 14 at UPMC Rooney Sports Complex. On my way there, along with Brendan Howe and Ed Thompson, to get all kinds of good stuff from practice. We'll talk to the coordinators. There'll be an injury report. Going to speak to some players. All the usual good stuff and more on all that coming up on Afternoon Drive with me and Zachary Smith. Yeah, hopefully around 6 o'clock or a little bit later yesterday. We'll see when Steelers can get the practice report out today. Today I want to talk about the Baltimore Ravens and the game that is coming up for the Pittsburgh Steelers and the second order effects of this game. And don't get me wrong, the primary effects of this game are quite important for the Pittsburgh Steelers. So I'm not overlooking them. The Steelers, it's not a must-win situation, but it's pretty close. They must win at least one of these two against the Ravens. And even if they just split against the Ravens, they're probably going to have to play better than they've been playing to get to a win in the division. I did talk to Smitty yesterday about how I like the Steelers' schedule down the stretch a little bit better than Baltimore's. They've got Cleveland, Miami, and Detroit. The Ravens have the Packers, the Patriots, and the Bengals. I think the Ravens definitely have the more difficult of the two schedules. So in a split, I kind of like the Steelers' chances. Steelers also should win the tiebreaker if they end up tied. We'll see. But unless something weird happens, they should. So it's not must win. But boy, I mean, the vibes around the team, the chance for the firing of Mike Tomlin, the fact that they've already lost 2 games in a row, a loss here would put the team in a really bad spot. And it would make, they would then nearly need to win out to control their own destiny at that point. And so it's a huge game. It's also just a game against the Baltimore Ravens, which are big in general. But I really think one specific part of this game goes further beyond that. When the Steelers entered this offseason, there was a lot wrong with this team. Obviously, you look at where they finished last year. Of those problems with this team, they really spent a large amount of effort to solve 2 of them. They stacked themselves up against the rest of the AFC North, and they said, our secondary is not good enough to stop the Cincinnati Bengals, and our passing attack and our front seven is not good enough to stop the Baltimore Ravens rushing attack. And that is because of what happened at the end of last year. They couldn't stop the Bengals to get a win in Week 18. They couldn't stop the Ravens to get a win in the playoffs. It was an embarrassing performance where they give up almost 300 yards on the ground to the Ravens and get dominated by their biggest rivals on the playoffs. And they spent most of this offseason trying to fix those 2 problems. Quarterback kind of kicked the can down the road. Wide receiver, exact same thing. Their big move in free agency was Darius Slay. Their big trade was for Jalen Ramsey. Their draft, Derek Harmon, Wyatt Black, Jack Sawyer. They picked Jack Sawyer over Alec Almanor, who is a top 10 rookie wide receiver, in the 4th round. They left Will Howard on the board. They never drafted a quarterback until the 6th. It was very clear. Jack Sawyer is not that good of an edge rushing prospect. The one thing walking in the door you would say he's really good at, stopping the run. Wyatt Black basically doesn't have a pass rush move. He's a run stopper. Derek Harmon is a better pass rusher, but is a really good run stopper. The whole idea of this offseason was stop the Bengals passing attack, stop the Ravens rushing attack. We already know the first one failed, at least their first plan at it. The idea was Slay, Porter outside, Ramsey in the slot. Safety doesn't matter that much. They just stand back there and keep a lid on it. We'll get more turnovers. We can play man coverage. This will be better. None of that came true. Thornhill couldn't keep a lid on it. Slay couldn't play man. Ramsey couldn't play outside. They had no answers. They eventually found some answers. They played much better in the second game against the Bengals. But none of it was what they were thinking this offseason. everything they were thinking this offseason about the secondary was wrong. And you can certainly put an exclamation point on that sentence by the fact that they've released 2 of their 5 starters already. And are now starting James Pierre, a complete and total afterthought of a veteran special teamer at outside corner. So, okay, that leads us to plan B. Stop the Ravens' rushing attack. And I got to be honest, they haven't faced the Ravens yet, but they've faced plenty of rushing attacks. And it's not gone well. This is not a good run defense right now. And it's especially not a good run defense with Derek Harmon hurt. And he's not going to play this week. But it's not all personnel when it comes to what happened against the Ravens, right? I mean, you can remember that game where you just a million read option meshes with TJ Watt tackling the wrong guy as the other one carried the ball upfield. And it's really interesting because the Steelers had a lot of success against Lamar Jackson before last year. I would say they got the better of their matchups with Lamar Jackson before last season. Probably better than just about anybody else. And last year was really the first time. Now, obviously, last year was the first time he had Derrick Henry to go along with it. But the read option doesn't change just because of a better caliber running back. The difference is the Steelers changed their approach to try to stop the Ravens because of their fear of Derrick Henry. And now they have to find a way to do both. They have to find a way to go back to stopping Lamar Jackson while at the same time not letting Derrick Henry run for 200 yards, because boy is he capable of it. And they're not going to be able to do it with Derrick Harmon. It's going to have to come schematically. In addition to personnel, I mean, they have good players on their defense. But, boy, if this goes poorly, if they can't stop the run against the Ravens, yeah, they're going to lose the game. And all those first-order things we talked about will be very stressed. But, I mean, you're just going to look at the Steelers' offseason. If they can't stop the Baltimore rushing attack and say, you guys didn't get anything right here. Maybe the pick of Harmon, because of the injury, gets a bit of an asterisk. But if you're drafting a nose tackle and you're drafting a run-first edge rusher and you still can't stop the run, you did it wrong. You should not have allocated those resources in that way. And I think that is that's the battle that is going to play out in the second order on Sunday. First order is easy. Win the game, save your season. Second order, stop the run, or your entire approach to this offseason was wrong and bad and awful. Good luck. That's all I got for today. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.